I bring you the tale of two conferences, the earnest desire of the Tories to run a presidential general election and the equally potent desire of the Labour Party not to. So this week's column comes, as I hope you can see, from the Labour Party conference in Liverpool. And I think part of my job is to try to tell the overall story of conference season, and that's what I'm going to try to do. So first of all, I think it's clear, if you think back to the Conservatives in Manchester, that Rishi Sunak wants to run the next general election as a presidential election, and for very good reason. He believes, looking at the last 13 years and the record, that if you run the Conservatives against the Labour Party, the Tories lose, and lose big. And so his conclusion is to try to separate himself entirely from the past recent history of the Conservatives in government. Now, he's not able to do this directly. He wasn't able to use the words Boris Johnson or Liz Truss, never mind Nigel Farage, directly himself inside the Tory party conference. But it is, as it were, as if he's parachuting himself in from the future and saying this is a completely different kind of contest now. Look at the number of times he used the word I. I am going to cancel this. I have decided. I am doing this. I am doing that.
I am ending this long-running saga. I am cancelling the rest of the HS2 project.
Stripping away decision after decision, announcement after announcement from his own shadow cabinet, and leaving them, in my view, looking slightly forlorn and humiliated. And the idea is not just to run Sunak against Starmer, but particularly to focus on Keir Starmer, because the Tory High Command, or the Tory Attack Command, see him as a weak spot. They think because of his career as Director of Public Prosecutions, there must be decisions taken there, whether they were directly taken by him or not, that can be used against him in an election campaign. They think because he was alongside Jeremy Corbyn for all those years, they can take Jeremy Corbyn's most Jeremy Corbyn views and apply them to Keir Starmer. This is the man who doesn't believe in NATO. This is the man who doesn't believe in the nuclear deterrent. This is the man who can't be trusted when it comes to Israel. It's also completely ridiculous. I am not going to go on, but you get the picture. It's going to be a very personal and rather unpleasant campaign. But I want to say two things which really relate then to the Labour Party conference. First of all, I think this is going to be a contest. We always make these elections about policy versus policy. We get into great detail of housing policy and all of that, and that's really important. But in the end, we are electing human beings. We are electing people to run this country, and they are people who are going to have to react in a human way to all sorts of extraordinary crises. Take the current crisis over Hamas and Gaza. And that is really a question of temperament and personality. Does the group of people leading the country panic? Are they worried? Are they put off by headlines? Do they keep focus? Do they keep forward movement? Are they likely to be scared by the allegations of colleagues or splits in their party, or do they have proper focus? What people tell me, who work very closely with Starmer, is that his biggest single attribute is his temperament. He is calm, quiet, unruffled under fire, takes time to take decisions, doesn't get personally offended in the way many politicians do, is remarkably low on ego in that sense. And so I think when it comes to a question of temperament, who would you want running the country during wild and rough times? Keir Starmer would do quite well. But having said all of that, the Labour Party are determined not to run a presidential campaign. Keir Starmer loathes talking about himself or his family, and so this is going to be a conference which is going to be very heavy on policy. We're going to hear an awful lot about housing and housing policy, for instance, in Keir Starmer's speech. I think that Angela Rayner's announcements on workers' rights are really radical, really extraordinary, and I'm slightly bemused that the right-wing press hasn't attacked them on every single front page every day since. I think they are probably asleep at the wheel. Guys, wake up. But there's going to be all of that. There's going to be big reforms to the way Whitehall and Westminster works, including to the House of Lords. We're going to have a raft of very, very important, as it were, policies which can be explained on the doorstep. We've had the 5 missions, the big picture 5 missions, and they are now being, as it were, throttled and manipulated down into actual policies that really real people can understand and can be explained on the doorstep. So I think, in short, the story of the two conferences is that I have come from Manchester, where the air was it wasn't very fresh. It felt dead. I saw lots of Tory MPs and quite senior figures talking on platforms, and looking in their eyes, I don't think even they had a strong sense of self-belief. Whereas here, It's not entirely attractive. All the money, all the power, all the ambitious, clammy people have arrived here, keen because they can see what's happening. And I think the overall picture is therefore fairly clear. Power has moved, and for the first time in a very long time, it has moved to the Labour Party. If you'd like to stay up to date, and you'd like to see the latest explainers, field reports, feature stories and special discussion episodes, then please, folks, subscribe to our channel today.
Brought to you by Canaccord Genuity Wealth Management. Experienced wealth managers who go above and beyond to guide and support you. Can do is more than just an attitude. Can do is navigating today for a brighter tomorrow.